Welcome back to part 6 of my discussion with a few of my closest friends, Christy, Mickey, Satoya, Sandy, Tia, and my daughter China, as we get vulnerable about vulnerability. I could be a really great place for my friends, and not so great for my husband or kids at times. Really sucks bad. You know, like you want to be that well-rounded, oh no, I'm an equal opportunity offender. You had talked about an instance that you remembered in this conversation, the first time you let your little vulnerable heart speak forth. Would you share? Because I love that story.
I was in 7th grade, and I remember, I think it was my first year in youth group, and our youth pastor, his name was Jim, he had either just grown his beard out or had just shaved his beard. I think it was he shaved his beard. And I, for some reason, took it upon myself to just say, oh, I like how you shaved your beard. But inside my heart, I was like, I really don't like that look at all. And I was like, why did I say that? So I took it upon myself to be vulnerable, like hiding behind the coat rack, like nervously waiting for him to come around the corner. Like, I really have to tell him the truth. It just looks crappy. So I didn't put it that way, but I was like, I really have to tell him the truth. So I tell him the truth. I'm like, I really did like your beard instead. But he could have totally been offended by that, but I had to rectify the problem of that duplicity in my heart. Like, I didn't want that there, and so that duplicity was enough to like drive me insane. I had to just tell the truth. So I don't know, I'm also a risk taker, so that was probably part of it too. It's like, well, if it all goes down, it all goes down, who cares? You know, so he could totally not talk to me for 6 years, but okay, we'll just risk it. But yes, I mean, that's what a 7th grader thinks like, right? So egocentric. Anyway, sometimes, I mean, I was definitely at that stage. So yeah, probably just because I needed, even if it was painful, I needed him to see my heart and to still be accepted, approved of, am I still okay? That validation and reassurance that, okay, you didn't necessarily have to say it. I mean, everybody tells those kinds of things to people at times, and you look back on those kinds of comments and go, did I really have to go back and say?
But obviously you did.
I did.
Like it was almost an injustice to yourself that you did.
Yeah, I didn't like the duplicity in my heart, so I had to make it right.
Is that still true of who you are as a woman?
Oh, for goodness sake, yes. It shot me in the foot this year, and so I don't know what to do about that.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
I have to just stop you because you just gave the response that leads into the next point of, you said, oh yes, as if that's a bad thing. Is there some shame attached? Like, where does the guilt and the shame for us as women, that the second we leave and we're like, in that moment, thank God I had the courage to say the truth, but you get in the car and you're like, what the heck did I just do? You're so stupid, you ignorant, you just destroyed that relationship. Or is that just me? That's what I thought. So it sounds like there's some shame attached to who we are.
But I feel like I will justify vulnerability almost every time, because for me the risk of sharing the benefits of sharing have always outweighed the drawbacks. So I just have to do it because it's who I am.
Yeah. So how often do you do it with no shame attached to it?
Often.
Good.
Often. Yeah.
I don't know if what I feel, if I would consider shame as much as just regret and then the risk. It's like you feel the sense of risk before you're honest with someone. right? And then you take that step of courage to go ahead and do it. But then as you maybe leave the conversation or as you have time to think on it, then this whole new risk rises up of, well, she said she understood me or she said she heard me, but what is she really thinking?
Right.
You know, or are we still going to be as good of friends? Right. Because what I said to her was hard to hear, and I hope she knows my heart is good toward her. But what if she doesn't?
Yeah.
What if she pulls away from me now?
Yeah.
Or what if she didn't really understand? What do I need to clarify? You know, and so we've all been there, right? Mm-hmm. Sometimes we might call a friend, but I just want to make sure you heard my heart with that. You know, I wasn't trying to offend you. I love you, but you know what I mean? It's like, it's almost like a process.
Yeah.
Of getting past your fear of that vulnerability, even after you've taken the step to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
It's like regret or remorse or something over doing it, going for it.
Yeah, and I can say like 9.5 out of 10 times for me, that deepening, that hard, that in the trenches life work, 9.5 out of 10 times always strengthens the relationship. There's that 0.5, you know, that it's like they just weren't able to see me the same, or, you know, it wasn't worth it any longer, or they gave up, or whatever the case may be. But I have found that the reward comes in the hard. Ooh, and it can be so hard, so hugely, greatly, magnificently hard. But the reward is that much greater, you know? It just sounds like we kind of packaged it up pretty and said, well, it's hard, but it's good. And I don't
It's good and hard.
Yeah.
It seems like it's just another case in life of a practice makes better. You know, the more we do this, the more we live in authentic community, the more we live wholeheartedly and vulnerable. I don't think, like Mickey said, you're never going to master it. I don't think we'll ever say, it comes easily to me now. Mm-mm. But I think you become more confident that no matter what happens in each individual situation, that you know who you are, you know? Yeah. And a lot of that, of course, there's another layer to that of knowing who we are in Christ, and that it isn't all about how other people receive us or if they understand us or if we were too honest or whatever. But I think the more that we live this way, which I personally think we have living proof of right here, that we can sit and have this conversation with each other, because some of these relationships have been hard fought for, that practice makes better. It will never master it, but it makes us better at it. And more willing to take the risk every time. I think it's a little bit less risky.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure if I can find words to what I'm trying to say, but I know there's something bubbling up. But I think kind of tying in with that is compassion for ourselves. Mm-hmm. It is so easy for me to be compassionate to all of you, but it's totally different with myself. Totally different. And I feel like I can look at each and every one of you guys and see all of your worth, all of your value, you know, all of these awesome things. It's not easy. It's not always easy to do with yourself. And I think trying to be authentic in relationships, I'm finding it to be that to truly be vulnerable and authentic with other people is learning that I have to deem myself worthy enough to share myself with someone else.
Yeah.
And I can see that when I back away are times when I'm not finding myself worthy enough to share with someone else. That, I think that is one of my biggest struggles. I think that's a common struggle, though.
Absolutely.
Among women, is that we don't deem ourselves worthy of those good relationships. It is so risky. It is so unsafe, but it can be the most beautiful thing. And I totally agree. Practice makes perfect, but we have to find it within ourselves and within, truly, for those of us that call ourselves followers of Christ, we have to find ourselves worthy, not only within ourselves, but that Christ really did make us worthy. And that it's not prideful to walk in his worthiness.
No.
But that's right
Yeah.
to do. But I think, again, that's one of the most difficult balances. I have a lot of difficult balances.
I've heard somebody say, find somebody that's worthy of hearing your story.
Yeah.
And I love that, but I think the point that you just made that I think is worth mentioning is until you can find that person worthy of hearing your story, you have to be able to say, I am worthy of telling this person my story. And that's not...
I'm worthy of my story.
Yeah.
I'm worthy to be proud of my story,
Yeah.
flaws and everything, and I'm worthy to be able to share that with somebody else. I'm worthy to receive love back or compassion back or truth back, whatever that might be. I think that's a huge step in conquering and even going forward in friendships or relationships or even your walk with Christ, your marriage, whatever.
Tune in next time as we continue our discussion on vulnerability, on women, body, mind, soul, and spirit.